Thanks for joining us. As the countdown continues to the Canada Winter Games in February, local residents and games planners are busy with preparations to host the almost 3,500 athletes, along with their families, coaches, and friends. Not to mention the organizers here at Otway Ski Club. And I'm here with the club's president, Kevin Pedersen. Kevin, tell us a little bit about the upgrades here at Otway.
Yeah, it's been a busy few years. We've had quite a number of changes here. Probably the most change we've had in the history of the club. The most significant being the biathlon range that's been constructed. It's a 30-lane biathlon range, which meets the full international standards. We've also had about 10 kilometers of competition trails done. We've widened the stadium here. We've built two technical buildings, one for cross country and one for biathlon. And I think it's a real great thing to be able to have this as a legacy from the games.
And how much money has actually been put into the club?
Well, the money, there was a few hundred thousand that came from the games. The province contributed about another 400,000. But I think the real great story is what the community, the corporate community, had done, and it came together and helped build a lot of the buildings here, the cross country building, the technical buildings. So, and then also the trails. That was done by a lot of volunteer labor and equipment. And so, in all, we have about a $1.5 million in upgrades for about a $300,000 investment through the games.
And how will these upgrades help the club after the games?
Well, this really brings us up to a whole new level. We now have a world-class facility here. We are the largest Nordic club in Canada, so it's really great to be able to have this kind of thing in Prince George. We're already getting interest for hosting not only Nordic events but other events as well, with kind of the attention we've been getting from the games. So. Really, what we'd like to look at in the future is hosting international events and international training, but also this is the trails, the facilities we have out here can be experienced by anybody, from the very young to the very old, to the very new to the elite athlete. So I think it gives our community such a amazing facility to enjoy winter and Nordic sports.
Thank you, Kevin, for joining us. We're hoping to see some great athletes out here at the Otway Ski Centre during games time, some of whom may go on to compete at an international level after the games are over. Well, who better to share their games experience with us than a couple of well-decorated Olympians? Since the Canada Games began in 1967, nearly 100,000 athletes have participated in both winter and summer sports. For some, the Games are the highest level of competition reached in their athletic careers. But for others, the Games are a jumping-off point for higher competition, perhaps even the Olympic Games. Catriona LeMay-Doan competed in the Canada Games 3 times.
My first one was a little bit of an eye-opener. The second one was really about wanting to get results. And the third one, which was in a summer sport, I knew that would be the pinnacle of my career. So I've seen it as a stepping stone, which it is for many athletes, and as the top. I knew I wouldn't go anywhere beyond Canada Games, and I was so proud of making that team in athletics. So it's exciting because this is the best of this age group of athletes in Canada, and this is uniquely Canadian.
4-time Olympic gold medal winning hockey player Jana Hefford remembers her trip to the Games as captain of Team Ontario with fondness.
It was an amazing experience. I remember it quite well, obviously, and it was the first time that I had traveled. I'd flown on a plane, was to go to the Canada Winter Games and represent Ontario. It was a unique experience because to me it represented what the Olympics were like, and I had aspirations to be in the Olympics, but you go as part of Team Ontario, you have your opening ceremonies and your outfits, and then you get to compete in a sport you love. So I have great memories of it.
At the 2010 Olympics, Canada Games alumni contributed 16 of the country's 26 medal tally, representing 61% of medals won by Canada, proving the Games are a great training ground for some of the country's best.
Canada Games, it's one competition, and this is where you want to shine. You don't have, in 2 weeks' time, you don't have another chance. This is it. So for athletes, this is a great preparation for the big competitions to come, perhaps the Olympics and the Paralympics.
It's similar to the Olympics in the sense that there's a lot going on, there's a lot of other sports happening, and you're part of a bigger team, not just a women's hockey team. So it's a nice feeling to compete on behalf of a province or a country where you're a part of that, and then when you feel like you can do your job in your sport, but have a chance to cheer on the other athletes as well.
And for those young athletes training for a peak performance this February in Prince George, some wise words from two very accomplished athletes.
Really enjoy the experience. I think it's an opportunity to compete at the highest level against the best athletes in our country. It's an opportunity to get a glimpse into what the Olympics may someday be like. It's just a smaller scale, but it's really a great opportunity to just play the game you love.
Slow it down. Take every single moment. The competition is exciting and the competition is fierce and it is the highest level of competition. But take a moment, look around, and take it all in.
The Canada Games have played a prominent role in developing some of Canada's premier athletes. The Games have acted as a stepping stone for many, including Taller Cranston, Catriona LeMay-Doan, Bruni Surin, Hayley Wickenheiser, Steve Nash, Adam Van Couverden, Sidney Crosby, Alexandra Despatie, and Jana Hefford.
Jana Hefford, second leading scorer in Canadian national team history, scores!
Odds are good the 2015 event will produce more legends to add to this celebrated list. The thousands of visitors to Prince George will be greeted and helped out by thousands of volunteers during the Winter Games, and a volunteer center has been set up in the downtown core to help those who are helping out prepare for the event. Elaine Hauk visits with friends while preparing numbers for coat checks when the Winter Games take place. The lifelong volunteer is just one of thousands who will help pull off the Games in February.
No. Just meeting all the athletes and meeting all the people that are coming to visit and just meeting new people here in the volunteer center, which is a lot of fun.
Hello, bonjour, 2015 Canada Winter Games Accreditation and Volunteer Center. How may I help you?
To help the thousands of volunteers get computer training and accreditation, the Games has set up a center in the building at the corner of 7th and Quebec. Though now it looks like an empty shell, it will change again closer to Games time.
In January, the center transitions to more of an accreditation area. So at Games time, the front part of the center will be accreditation zone for guests coming here to pick up their accreditation, and the volunteer center sort of moves to the back of the house, because at that point volunteers are deployed in venues, and once they're deployed in venues, they have a volunteer services lounge that supports them in each venue.
It's expected thousands of volunteers will walk through the doors of the center over the next few months, whether to get a picture taken for identification or to pick up their uniforms, as every person who is associated with the Games will have to be accredited, a massive undertaking.
We have 13,000 pieces of accreditation that we have to issue. So volunteer workforce looks after 4,500. We have sponsors that we're accrediting, venue staff. So CN Center staff that normally work in the building are going to need accreditation to get into the building at Games time. Media that are coming, athletes that are coming, coaches, mission staff, like the list goes on and on.
And your name is? And you're in what service?
From checking in other volunteers to parking, the volunteers at the 2013 Canada Summer Games in Sherbrooke were needed and well received, and that same sentiment is shared by Games organizers in Prince George.
Without volunteers, the Games wouldn't happen. There's no way you could take a job, a project on of this magnitude without having the goodwill of volunteers to make it happen.
Can't be 96. Ever.
And for Elaine Hauk, every Tuesday through January, she plans to continue her shift at the center, doing odd jobs and enjoying being a part of the largest event the city has ever hosted.
The payoff is feel-good feeling, and you're giving back to your community. And I think we owe our community something back from us. And there's a lot of retired people that are working in this area, and I think that's the fun part, is being with a bunch of new people.
Coming up after the break, Games organizers look to keep everyone healthy and a unique recycling opportunity.